Yes, it's very much been the Chief Constable of the police service here who has ramped up the focus on security across Northern Ireland in the advance of Joe Biden's visit. He arrives here about 9:20 tomorrow night in Belfast. He was referring specifically to one city here, Derry, and to one place, Cregan, the estate behind me, knowing there was a Republican parade there this afternoon. Now, it should be pointed out these dissident Republican groups enjoy pretty marginal small supports, even in areas like Cregan, but they felt confident enough, able enough to parade openly across that estate this afternoon in front of the world's media. The Cregan estate in Derry this afternoon. A police surveillance vehicle strays too near a Republican parade. When they say the Good Friday Agreement still has a long way to go, this is in part what they mean. That historic day, 1998, Good Friday that year was April the 10th, 25 years to the day.
We see this agreement.
The Prime Minister today praised the bravery, perseverance and political imagination of leaders north and south of the border then to get the deal over the line. 25 years on, the graffiti sometimes makes you feel time has stood still, but the main paramilitaries have disarmed, British troops are gone, investment and tourism here have blossomed in many areas.
It's hard to describe just how different it feels to the Northern Ireland of 20 years ago.
And today Keir Starmer similarly endorsed it all in a Twitter video.
The Good Friday Agreement is the greatest achievement of the Labour Party in my lifetime, without question.
And yet, small parts of some communities still feel left behind by it all. An illegal parade in the Cregan estate today in Derry. A 14-strong dissident IRA colour party. When people say the Good Friday Agreement has come a long way, but there's still a long way to go, this is what they mean. Small sections of some community for whom some individuals say the Good Friday Agreement was a sellout. And despite the fact that it was endorsed by referendums north and south of the border, their arms struggle continues. At the cemetery's Republican memorial, speeches denouncing the Good Friday Agreement as a failure.
The important thing is to join the IRA!
Sinn Féin's support of it, a sellout.
Up the Republic!
Well, it's obvious that the Good Friday Agreement has copper fastened the British Union. If you look, we're now 25 years on from the signing of that Good Friday Agreement, and what we have is an increase in deprivation and an increase of poverty if you look at working class areas across Derry.
The 1916 Easter Rising duly commemorated, the crowd of several hundred and colour party dispersed, some with petrol bombs readied. All of this a long way in many senses from the Belfast which will welcome the US President in celebration tomorrow night. Well, from time to time, the violence across the years here in Northern Ireland has thrown up individuals who inspire and somehow symbolise the resilience of the community here. One such man is Michael Gallagher. He lost his son Aidan in the Omagh bomb atrocity, which of course happened just 4 months after the Good Friday Agreement was signed. This morning I caught up with him at the memorial in Omagh, and in a wide-ranging interview we began perhaps on one aspect of this agreement which is currently failing, the devolved power-sharing assembly in Stormont.
I think it's hugely sad given the sacrifice all those people made. Up to that point, almost 4,000 people died and 50,000 people were injured. And we thought when the Good Friday Agreement happened that things would completely change. They have, of course, changed, but we don't have the same integration in the community that you would have in a normal society.
It's not brought communities together as you hoped it would.
It hasn't, and I mean, one of the telling things in it is the fact that our children are educated in different schools, and there's only 8% of the education system that's integrated in Northern Ireland. And I think the quicker we bring those young people together, that they themselves will normalise society.
Adams, McGuinness, Trimble, Hume, the men who brought this agreement together those years ago, would they have tolerated Stormont and power sharing being shut down like it is?
Well, they would never have envisaged that. I mean, their dream, their goal was to create a brand new Northern Ireland so that we could move forward. We could all be no matter what part of the city or town we were in, there was no such thing as a division, as my side or your side. The people in Northern Ireland, for me, are really good people. They are well educated, they are talented and gifted, they are kind.
But let down by today's politicians.
Absolutely. I think let down by poor leadership. That's where and the politicians in our communities looking over their shoulders to see what the crowd is doing instead of them leading the crowd.
When you see today still loyalist and Republican parades going on, what do you make of, what goes through your heart?
Well, I think what they do is they take me back to the times of the Nazis marching in the streets to show their power and to intimidate the other side.
The Nazis, that's quite an image.
It is, sadly it is, but it's a reality and we haven't learned the lessons of history. These people are still fighting the wars of the past.
It's sometimes forgotten, Michael, you didn't just lose Aidan, you lost your brother to the IRA.
That's right. I think that when you've had the pain that we've had, you would want to work with the community and not against it. I think that 25 years ago, there was a huge fight won, and that fight was won without fighting. We all gained from the peace process, but we haven't grasped it with both hands.
Prime Minister here, US President here. It's obviously a huge event 25 years on. What should come of that for you?
Well, I know if I was the person that was not in Stormont, I would be embarrassed. I would find it difficult. Personally, I think all those problems should be overcome. You know, the people elected the representatives, it's up to them to get into a room with constructive conversation, and we need our politicians to be working for us, and not the politicians who are elected in England. They're doing their best, but they're still coming up short. We need our own politicians fighting our corner in our parliament.